Hey stoners, it's the Red-Eyed Widow here with GentlemanStoners.com, bringing you an inside snapshot of the cannabis industry. Today I actually wanted to focus on an article that I have written myself. It is on GentlemanStoners.com, links down below. It is titled, Marijuana Saving the U.S. Economy Again. I hope everyone hasn't gotten too tired of the news. I will resume actual product reviews next week. And there's a whole plethora of them. I'm actually going to eventually do Tuesday night news. I'm just gearing up right now to be able to push out 2 videos in a single week. So it's something that's going to happen. So if we go back in the United States history, the United States has a deep, rich history with cannabis. I wouldn't say exactly that the United States had a deep, rich with smokable marijuana, THC, but has definitely had a rich history of using cannabis, and particularly what we consider it now industrial hemp, because what we consider hemp these days also would be CBD, and they're just a little bit different. One's used for fiber, one's used for CBD, and one's used for THC. But the United States has actually used cannabis in a variety of areas for the manufacturing of goods as well as medicine, dating way back actually to the 1600s. And that is actually when early settlers brought cannabis to the United States. And from there, actually, in the 1600s, a little bit to the 1700s, hemp was actually used as a currency and you were able to pay taxes with it. Now, when I say that cannabis is saving the United States economy again, I'm kind of referring to this, because back when hemp was a currency, back in the early settling days, as well as to pay taxes. So, as we all know, the form of currency definitely is directly linked to the economy and how much goods and services can be produced. And by and large, I would say that the United States used more of the hemp side more than they did either for THC, and I don't even know if CBD was even a thing back then, but I also know THC was a thing as well. And one of the reasons that made hemp so valuable back in the 1600s and 1700s was the accessibility of the product itself. Hemp generally, when popping from seed, you can start it earlier in the season and get this massive amount of plant, per actually square foot. You were getting a lot of product, as well as if you could have put cannabis out around I think the latest is around July 15th, and you would still get a lot of product. And not only that, the durability of the fibers and what you can actually use the fibers to place in clothes. Back then, the U.S. Navy back in the 1796 used hemp for their ships, sails, ropes, and a variety of other ship fixtures. And herein lies the real reason hemp was used and promoted so heavy during the founding of the United States, is because really it was a matter of national security, because of the actual fibers it could create and the amount of products you can create with it. Actually, back to that point, George Washington and Thomas Jefferson have been recorded to say basically, and this wasn't George Washington, but this was Thomas Jefferson, said hemp is a first necessity to the wealth and prosperity of the nation. And it's actually used a little bit, I would say these days, more medicine-wise, and I don't even think we've hit the beginning of what actually hemp is going to do for us, because we stopped using it in a variety of products that we used to use, because we used cotton and other types of raw materials to produce our goods and services. But if I go back to the article, along the way, the United States, from this early 1600s, 1700s, a little bit beyond that, they ended up just going in a different direction, using timber, using cotton, using a variety of other materials other than cannabis. But it's interesting is, if you fast forward years into today's current day and age, marijuana and hemp have made a stunning comeback of all comebacks. I mean, marijuana must be just a straight up comeback kid. And this is actually largely due to the activists and the people who just refused to obey a ban on a plant that was once considered a national security. And as much as I always believed, if you're not hurting anyone, you should be able to do whatever you want. So smoking cannabis doesn't hurt anyone. So I applaud the activists and the people back then who really brought cannabis into today's existence. And today, and now we're not really using as much hemp for goods and services, but instead we've like come back on a medicine level with cannabis. And today the marijuana sector is just booming. It's like outperforming other sectors, and it's also outperforming its own historical revenue. Marijuana, like the TH form, is not actually legal in all 50 states, but what is legal is CBD and hemp. And we're seeing a complete like boom as in those industries as well. But where marijuana, particularly the THC kind, is legal, those businesses and consumers are experiencing such a boom that businesses are experiencing the boom in like a cash revenue type of situation with like more revenue and profits. But consumers are also experiencing and benefiting from this because they are experiencing the benefit in the form of R&D. So now we're having more like products coming to the shelves. Marijuana businesses are able to put that money to like new products, packaging, machines, and of course manpower. Although I have to say, like, manpower is pretty hard to find these days. So it's not really a matter of like the cannabis industry is booming. There's just a lack of workers. And I think I promised from last video I would go like a little bit more in depth of like what I see, because now that all these like parameters are put into place, like, you know, the depression, the shutdown, and like whatever you may have it. So if I can actually go into like, you know, the speculation phase, if the economy breaks down any further, I foresee tax revenue from marijuana increasing, but I also see regulators as well as state governments increasing taxes on cannabis to fill in the gaps where other sectors are failing. I also see like state regulators like looking for things to fine cannabis companies on, because that's really where they get their money. You know what I'm saying? Because they can just fine, and then that business would have to pay because they could just be shut down. I also, along the same lines as the boom for THC, I expect we're going to see just a huge boom in hemp, and other areas like CBD and CBG and CBC and all these like other varieties of cannabis coming onto the market. And I assume they're going to do very well. But I also see, and here's the fun part, is because like I know I started like, you know, started the video with like marijuana is, or at least hemp, used in goods and services, and it fell off a little bit, and then, you know, cannabis came back in the form of medicine. But I also foresee industrial hemp coming back. And why I foresee industrial hemp coming back is because hemp itself, like I said, is so accessible to farmers, and it produces so much that it's really can be used into local goods and services in the form of like local t-shirts and just local products, because local farmers will be able to have access to this industrial hemp that it's going to come back onto the market. I would say the only area where that specific sector is lacking is processing power. So processing hemp in a way that actually can be used to create t-shirts and the like. And that is actually pretty much like the article that I have written for you guys. I actually got inspiration from an article that I was reading. Not particularly that marijuana is saving the United States economy again, but more particularly that marijuana is just one of those bright sectors in the United States right now. And it's because the United States is so new, and if it continues to be allowed to flourish and to grow, it surely has the ability to actually bring back a lot of jobs in a lot of areas that have suffered so much from the economic crisis that we're actually experiencing right now. So that's about all I have for you guys today. I am the Red-Eyed Widow with GentlemanStoners.com, and I will see you